It's no secret that Ferrari is cooking up their first ever hybrid production series sort of hypercar-ish supercar, the Ferrari SF90 Versione Speciale. But it has just been leaked without any camouflage, testing on the racetrack for its final stages before the official reveal. We don't know when that is yet, but stay tuned for the full video where I will tell you everything we know about the Ferrari SF90 Versione Speciale in my little docu-series that I sort of do. So make sure you go check out that playlist. I'll just link it in the description below, I guess. But if you haven't already, just subscribe down below to help me achieve my dream of becoming a successful YouTuber. I make all types of content on this channel, from everything from car reviews, vlogs, to my personal opinions, to redesigning cars, to short videos, and even informative videos, and an occasional cinematic video. So basically every single thing a car person would want in a YouTube channel. So make sure you hit that subscribe button down below again, and turn on post notifications so you'll be notified every single time I make a new video. But the standard Ferrari SF90 is already an absolutely beautiful car. A lot of people don't like the rear end, and that's probably the worst view of the car, even though the entire car is beautiful. The silhouette, the front end, the top view, even the top view. Of all things, the top view is absolutely gorgeous, and the SF90 is a masterpiece of design. One of the best looking Ferraris in the history of Ferrari, in my opinion. That's just me. I have a lot of hot takes that many people don't agree with, but that's what you're here for. And now the weird thing about Ferrari is usually they don't put massive wings on everything, because they usually just put the arrow under the car or in the little hidden spots where it is. It's really confusing. I don't exactly get how it works, but Ferrari did this with the 488 Pista, they did it with the 458 Speciale, the 360 Talon Stradale, the F430 Scuderia, the LaFerrari, they did it with the freaking F12 TDF, the A12 Competizione. All of those cars do not have massive wings on it that look like they were just stuck on there with aftermarket pieces. Ferrari is always about beauty and elegance, and with the SF90 Versione Speciale, the first ever hybrid hypercar-ish supercar with over 1,000 horsepower, it's going to have an aftermarket looking wing, and it's going to have fenders and crazy canards over the fenders and everything, fender flares, whatever you want to call it, because let's take a look at the leaked photos of the Ferrari SF90 Versione Speciale. Also, the term Versione Speciale is just a code name for any sort of hardcore Ferrari, just like when the 812 GTO was testing, if you remember that back in 2021, everyone called it the 812 GTO and the Versione Speciale because it was not confirmed that the name was 812 Competizione until around after the reveal. Same thing went for the 488 Pista, the 458 Speciale, F12 TDF, you get the gist. But here is the car without any sort of camouflage on, and it looks just, well, not really beautiful. It looks wild, yes, matter of fact, it looks wild, and usually Ferraris are supposed to be elegant, even the most hardcore variants of it, but this thing looks like an absolute beast. It does look a little bit aftermarket. Okay, I'm gonna admit it, it looks very aftermarket-y, but I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. It has this huge swan neck style rear wing in the rear. Obviously, it's gonna produce a ton of downforce. The SF90 already was a monster at the track with handling. It was one of the best handling cars ever on any single racetrack, even though it didn't have any sort of crazy aero and crazy wings and crazy splitters. But now the SF90 Versione Speciale will have that, and just imagine how much more crazy around the track this will be than the standard SF90. We do sort of lose the hammerhead sort of style that we have in the SF90, where you have the daytime running lights and the actual main headlights going up here, and then it goes into some sort of little C shape that goes into sort of pointing towards the shark nose area, if that makes sense. But we don't really have that now, and instead what we have is a giant strip of just, I'm pretty sure it looks like opening just for air intakes that goes across one side to the other side. So now that C shape is sort of connected towards the middle of the car. I do prefer the standard SF90 though compared to this, because this is just a lot of things going on in this design, but obviously that does make for a monster on the track, which this car is purposely built for. The front splitter, it looks pretty similar to the 488, which is the most beautiful looking car in the entire world in my opinion. Yes, I know that's a bold statement to say, but I think the 488 is the best looking car in the world. I think it's better than every single other car that's ever made in the history of the car, and it sort of looks like that, but you do have some sort of little red piece in the middle, it looks like, and I don't know what that's for exactly, but we'll just have to wait and find out. This car does look like it has red accents around the wheels and also the sides of the wing too, and it has some sort of little sticker-ish thing on the hood, it looks like. And even the hood, speaking of which, it actually does look like the standard 488 GTB, if I'm being honest. Like, just take a look at these little outlets on the hood. The SF90 did have the little S-duct sort of feature that was found first on the 488 Pista, then it transferred into the F8 Tributo and F8 Spider, and now it moved on to the SF90. and then it moves sort of away from the SF90 Versione Speciale. I thought it was going to actually be way bigger than this, but I guess not. They did sort of like what they did on the standard 488. I mean, it still looks good nonetheless, and you do have some little carbon fiber sort of panels on the sides of the front fender area where it leads to the headlight area, and then over the front fenders you have these outlets for the wheels to release turbulence. The air intake looks pretty similar. Actually no, it looks like it has some sort of different little layout for it, so I don't know what that could be. We have a new ducktail spoiler. The tail is actually way longer, speaking of which. That ducktail does help with that, and the rear body of the SF90, I always thought it was like way too short, so I always wanted to like stretch it out a little bit, and they did that with the SF90 Versione Speciale. Hopefully an SF90 facelift will be coming up soon without the wing and all the crazy arrows, so we will have an actually perfect SF90. And speaking of the rear, let's take a look at that. But first, right here we have these little outlets on the rear fenders, but let's take a look at this rear view because we have a full light bar on this thing. It really reminds me of the Daytona SP3, which is the second most beautiful Ferrari ever made in the world. The third one is the Testarossa, in my opinion. Now, a lot of people did complain about the standard SF90's taillights looking like a Corvette sort of ish taillight. I don't exactly see it that much, but it's just an evolution of the Ferrari taillight. It does look more aggressive. That's what Ferrari's main intention was to do. Instead of having circles that looks like eyes that are fully open, they have eyes that are sort of squinting, which is sort of what the SF90's taillight was made to mimic. And we have this absolutely massive piece going into the taillight right there, which looks just insane. The whole rear end, it doesn't even look like there's any bodywork. It just looks like a whole big diffuser on the rear end. And I don't exactly know where the exhausts are placed because
the image is so blurry, like we can't even really tell a thing.
But we can basically get an idea because these renders right here are very, very, very accurate to the point where we don't even really need a whole reveal yet because the car is basically revealed with these renders because they are so accurate, and it looks way better than the blurry images because obviously blurry images do not do better than full quality images, if that makes sense. But I do hope to see this sort of like implementation of the long tail SF90 in the SF90 facelift if they make one, because I always thought the SF90's rear end was way too short in my opinion, and I thought it was way too flat, like it was just stopped somewhere. Like it needs to have some curvature to it. But that's just my opinion on the SF90 Versione Speciale. So far, again, we don't know what it's going to be called. That's why I say Versione Speciale, which means the code name for special version. So SF90 special version. But tell me what you think about my opinion, and do you agree with it or do you disagree with it? And also tell me your opinion on Ferrari's new sort of take on their Aero with the crazy rear wings that are sticking up everywhere and the crazy splitters and the not so elegant design anymore. But that's just my opinion again. But if you haven't already, just subscribe down below to help me achieve my dream of becoming a successful YouTuber. I make all types of content on this channel, from everything from car reviews, vlogs, to my personal opinions, to redesigning cars, to short videos, and even informative videos. So basically every single thing a car person would want in a YouTube channel. So make sure you hit that subscribe button down below again and turn on post notifications so you'll be notified every single time I make a new video. But again, check out my other videos, and again, stay tuned for my sort of docu-series of the SF90 Versione Speciale that's coming up. I do hope to see you in a future video, and bye for now. Bananas. There, I said it, Eddie.
Please subscribe. Lol, I have big dreams on YouTube.
But anyway, let us take a look. Oh, no, crap.